Alright guys, so welcome to the next portion of the build for my Keezer. So as we did with putting the lid on and then building the collar on it and putting the top sheet where the caps are going to sit on, then I'm going to epoxy them in, all the holes have to be drilled in the collar before you stain it. So, you know, as I do things, I'm drilling those holes and sadly also realizing some mistakes I made. So my next step is to make the holes, drill the holes for the taps, the eventual taps, and the hole for the CO2 tank, which is going to be coming out of this side anyway, so no one's going to be able to see it. And then also for the drip tray. So what I did with the drip tray is I measured the length between this screw, this top bolt, and this top bolt, and then drew a line down the middle so that I know where to put the middle of the 3 screws for the drip tray. And I decided that I am going to put the drip tray at a point where only the backsplash part of it is actually on the collar itself. The actual drip tray part will be below, just so when I put the taps in, it'll be easier to get a glass in there. I'm not going to do it any lower just because I don't want it to, like, there'll be too much weight hanging down. I really want the collar to be able to support as much of the weight as possible from the drip tray. So, you know, if I change my mind, of course, you'll see that. But right now I'm going to go ahead and screw it on just to see how it looks, and then I'll come back to you after that. Cheers. So as you see, I have the drip tray drilled on, and now I have to map out where the taps are going to go. So one mistake I made was trying to map it out based on that middle line, but really that middle line is the middle of the whole front and not the middle of the drip of where the tap should be, because there's 4 taps. And if I wanted to do 5, then I could do 2 on each side, which I tried to do, but right now I only want 4. So, and I want them 3 inches apart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the drip tray, and since I'm measuring it based on the 14-inch drip tray I have here, I'm going to put that up, you know, this part up on the collar itself, based on about this point, which is about 1.5 inches from the top of the front collar board, and use that as my height. But I'm gonna use that to measure where I want the other the taps to be, and I want there to be 3 inches apart with 1 inch of wiggle room on each side. So we'll go ahead and mock that up, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Alright guys, so what I've done is, after a bunch of measuring based on what I shouldn't have done, when I based all the measurements off my drip tray, which you're really not supposed to do, but anyway, that'll just prevent me later on from using more than just the usual plastic or wooden, you know, round tap handles that they come with the taps themselves, or the faucets themselves. So I did each of them about 3.5 inches apart. As you see here, I did 4 5/8 inch pilot holes, just to make it easier for when I actually use the spade bit to get through there, because I am going through about, you know, like both layers. It was pretty hard, even with, you know, drilling the pilot hole. I had to put a lot of elbow grease in there. So in the end, the taps might not be 100% level with each other, but they'll be definitely close. So having these 5/8 inch holes, and then I'm gonna use a spade bit that looks like this. That's 15/16, so that the shanks, when I do buy them, will go in pretty tight and snug and make a nice seal. So I'm going to go ahead, get the first one drilled, and then based on how that goes, I'll see how much of the drilling I'll actually show you. Alright, be right back. Okay, as you see here, I drilled all 4 holes. Since this was my first time using the spade bit, I definitely learned my lesson that I should have had someone who has used the spade bit before here, because it was very hard to control at the angle I was drilling them in at. It was very hard to drill, and especially with the I probably used too big of a pilot hole, or I shouldn't have used the pilot hole at all. So some of the holes are kind of pulled a little bit to the corner, but luckily, when you have the shanks, it'll cover it up. But so I'm not doing that just yet because of money reasons. It's going to be hard to really. So I have to sand everything down, put some wood filler in it, and make it look better before I stain. But overall, a decent job. In the back, it also caused a lot of splintering around the holes themselves. So I cleaned the holes out as much as I can for now, and I'll have to figure out what to do now that I've kind of messed it up a tiny bit. But once I know what I'm gonna do, I'll let you know.
You always stay the same. Son, it don't matter if you're standing in the light. Runaway train or a cold steel frame. It doesn't even matter who you are.